A spacious cabin, especially here at the back seats, where you also get additional under-thigh incline support. Almost 500 liters of cargo area, which is one of the largest in the segment. Styling that is almost unique, not just to the brand, but in this segment as well. Don't miss the coupe roof slide. The option of choosing a 1.2-litre turbo petrol motor under the hood, which comes mated with an automatic transmission unit, giving this SUV a peppy drive character. And excellent pricing, ranging between rupees 8.25 lakhs to rupees 14 lakhs ex-showroom for a mid-size SUV. Yes, this is the Citroen Basalt, launched in August of 2024. Citroen's sure shot gamble that unfortunately has failed to take off. The chances are you must have heard a lot about it, but chances also are that you may not have seen a lot of it on Indian roads. Why, despite so much of promise, is the Citroen Basalt not making a big noise in the segment and in the car market? The Basalt got off to a decent start, selling around 500 units in the first 2 months each since its launch. But since then, there has been a decline, and the decline has been rather sharp. In just December of last year, and despite deep discounts, Citroen could only sell less than 100 units of this SUV. Now in India, there are essentially two kinds of buyers in the mass market car segment. One is the aspirational buyer who's willing to experiment, and the other is a budget-conscious buyer who's prioritizing trust over everything else. Now Citroen, even with a model like the Basalt, has been unable to find the middle ground between the two. Now, while the pricing of the Basalt is definitely lucrative and compelling, the budget buyer perhaps has still not been able to trust the sales and service touchpoints of the French manufacturer in the country. Now, as far as those aspirational buyers are concerned, remember, the ones who are willing to experiment, even they want a whole lot of features. Basalt checks many of the boxes as far as basic feature lists are concerned, but things like front seat ventilation, sunroof, premium audio sound system, air purification system, or even something as basic as engine start-stop, which you get in smaller SUVs priced around the same point, is missing from the Basalt. Then there is brand Citroen as well. Now the company did a good job by roping in someone as big as MS Dhoni as their brand ambassador, but frankly, Citroen's presence, the familiarity is still very limited in urban centers of the country. In smaller towns and in rural areas, Citroen is still an absolutely unknown brand, or at least a relatively unknown brand. And then is the biggest question of them all, the service network. French manufacturer is offering something like a service on wheels, but if you want to physically take your car to a service center here in South Delhi, I'm in New Friends Colony right now, the nearest service center is 8 kilometers away in Safdarjung Enclave, and the next nearest one is in Noida, which is 15 kilometers away from where I am currently at. So Citroen has to work on these lines. I understand that it is a new company and these things take time, but it has to work on this and its brand image far more before it can be a common name in the common Indian household. Look, frankly, and after all is said and done, the Basalt is a very good car, especially because the price points at which it is being offered. Had it been from a more recognized brand, the SUV would have sold in much bigger numbers than what it is selling at the very moment. My final takeaway, despite all the pros and cons of the Basalt SUV, is that you should go experience it and definitely take a test drive. And if you're someone who is then convinced that the car, the product itself is good, and if you're someone who's on a tight budget but still looking for a large SUV with a unique styling proportion, then perhaps you can put this on the priority list. Whether you put it at the very top or somewhere in the middle or at the bottom, I leave it to you to decide. That is what we have to say about the Basalt from Citroen. What do you make of the car? Do let us know. For more such videos, do give us a follow on HT Auto YouTube and on our social media channels, Instagram, X and Facebook.